Welcome, brothers and sisters. I'm Paul Everton, the host here at the Truth Table. This is episode 27, and today's special guest started and is the leader of the People's Party of Canada. His name is Maxime Bernier, who left the caucus of the Conservative Party in 2018 because they have left their conservative values altogether. Max served as a cabinet minister for the Harper government in 2006 to 2019. Before entering politics, Maxime worked in law, finance, and banking. On this episode of the Truth Table, I will be asking Maxime questions about his policy on matters that concern me the most, and I look forward to hearing what he has to say. So grab a coffee and have a seat and join us at the Truth Table. We will be starting right after this. Welcome, brothers and sisters, and thank you for coming. I've got Maxime Bernier, leader of the PPC party. Thank you for joining us, or me, on the Truth Table.
I'm
How's
very pleased to be with you. Thank you very much.
it? I'm honored. I'm honored. I'm going to start with the first question, and hopefully, this will expand everyone's understanding of what a PPC government would be like in Canada, how it would transform this country and make it free again. Maxime, I think of you as a hero because you stood for us during the lockdowns and the mandates. And a few years back, 2017, I was searching for my own political party to join, and chose the Libertarian Party because they seemed to speak to me the most. But while in the party, I noticed it had been infiltrated, just like all the other parties. Infiltration of party social medias seems to be something that our government does on a regular basis, using our tax dollars to do it. Now, if you remember back in 2007, August, the government, or the police, probably through the government, used provocateurs to try to create a riot during a peaceful protest. The Quebec police admit they went undercover only because they got caught. Will a majority PPC government make it illegal for the police or any branches of government to use their money or the tax dollars to hire infiltrators, provocateurs, spies, and this 1984 type of surveillance that the Canadian people are suffering under?
Yes, absolutely. It must be illegal. It is unconstitutional, and you not do that when we are living in a real democracy. It's only banana republics that are doing that. So the answer to your question is it won't happen under a BBC government because it will be illegal, and we will respect our constitution. We will respect the privacy of Canadians and their rights under the Charter of Rights. And it's so sad that it's happening in our country with Justin Trudeau, like the frozen bank accounts of peaceful Canadians. So without a due process. It's that's why we are fighting for our freedoms. That's why this party has been built on four principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. And yes, we will respect the Constitution and your rights as a citizen.
Great. Thank you, Max. All right. My next question. My next question is about the food supply, Monsanto's, the vegetable oils, but Also, would you support labeling um, GMO so people know and they can put their dollar towards the food that they want to eat that is safe? Now, restaurants and fast food restaurants have been, someone bought all their food and tested 20 of the fast food chains, and they found high levels of toxic pesticides in the food. Also, 100% of top 20 fast food brands positive for glyphosate herbicide, 76% positive for harmful pesticides. Would a PPC government end the use of these dangerous herbicides, like glyphosate, and ban them from Canadian food supply?
Yes, and if you look at the debate in the US right now with former President Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and as you know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with President Trump, they want to make America healthy again. And that must be the case also here in Canada. First, we must have transparency. And yes, every Canadian must be able to know what is in their food. Transparency first, and after, yeah, all these process and and what they are putting in our food must be banned, like in Europe a little bit. I don't have the list of all these products, but there's a lot in US, in Canada. And what we need to do is to have a parliamentary commission in Ottawa that their job will be to look at everything that these big corporations are putting in our foods and being sure that our regulations will prohibit and prohibit the ingredients that are not in line with public health, and like they're doing in Europe. We just have to do like European countries, and the food is better over there. And they have real food. If you go in Italy, I was there a couple of years ago, you can eat very well, and the taste is different than here in North America. We have a lot of pesticide, so all that must be regulated, and to be sure that Canadians will have good food.
That's good to hear because it does concern me. They do use long, words with 20 letters, so the general public won't know what it is.
And I
And
don't, and I don't also actually, yeah,
yeah, yeah, but I do like what Robert is doing in the United States, and I hope that we can carry it forward here as well with the PPC government. All
yes.
right, I have another question. My next question, Max, is how you feel about the sovereignty of Canada. And in 1931, Canada first joined the British Commonwealth, which includes 56 countries. In 1949, the Commonwealth was modernized, yet the lives of Canadians has deteriorated since then. If compelled, will the PPC have a referendum so Canadians can vote to become a sovereign country, a constitutional republic, and leave the Commonwealth? And is this possible?
Actually, it will be very difficult to do that because we will have to reopen our constitution uh, to be a republic country. We are not, as you know. We have a system that is very different than the one in the US. We are a democracy, actually, and right now, what we have politicians that are not respecting our constitution and not respecting Canadians. So I would prefer to have a better electoral system. Actually, right now, it's the first past the post. There's no representativity in our electoral system. There's no, sorry, proportionality. What I'm telling you is, for example, the People's Party of Canada had 5% of the vote at the last general election, but we didn't have 5% of the seats. So I'm not asking for 5% of the seat, but if we can add more proportionality in our electoral system, that will be better. That will be a better democracy. And we are a sovereign country. What is happening right now is we have a government and a prime minister, Justin Trudeau, uh, who is listening to the World Health Organization, the UN, and he's signing the migration compact. That has a huge impact here in Canada. That means that every person on this planet can go in every country, but that's not the case. That must be a privilege to be a Canadian. He signed also the Paris Accord. So by doing that, he is importing their philosophy, their regulations here in our country. But because we are a sovereign country, we can vote a new government that won't do that. And I can tell you, us at the People's Party, we will withdraw from the Paris Accord. We will withdraw from the Migration Compact. We won't participate in the socialist ideas coming from the UN. They're all globalists, and we want to preserve our sovereignty. And that's why I said, we are a populist party. That's the reality. And we want to put Canadian first and our country first. So yes, we are a great defender of Canadian sovereignty. And actually, it's so concerning right now that these international organizations, with nobody is elected there, it's all bureaucrats. They are drafting policies, and after that, our government is implementing these socialist, globalist policies in our in Parliament by tabling legislations in line with the UN and the World Economic Forum. We won't have any discussion and with the World Economic Forum. We won't participate in the World Health Organization, and we will save money because we will cut the money also that we are giving to the UN. We can save a lot of money there. The UN won't have money from Canadians. We will use that money to help Canadians first. So we are a political party, and I may say the only one that will always fight for the sovereignty of our country.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Now, I agree with the first past the post. I think that's a horrible thing. I think it's very disingenuous and steals basically from the Canadian people, so they don't have their voice.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Would you consider making an amendment with the charter where it says reasonable limits, because it kind of leaves it like a loophole for the government uh, with these two words, reasonable limits.
Yeah.
Now, would you be willing to amend the charter?
So what you're saying, it is in our Charter of Rights, you're right. And sometimes, judges are doing, you can infringe and violate individual rights if it is in a reasonable limit in a democratic country. And they're using that clause to acknowledge and allow uh, the government to do that. So it would be great if we can change the constitution and the charter of rights, but it's always also part of the reopening the constitution, and it's not in our program to reopen the constitution. Actually, they have the same in the US, by the way. The federal government and other governments in the US, state governments, they did impose draconian measures. They did impose lockdowns on their population. And
Yeah.
as you know, the US has the Article 2 and 1 in their constitution. Everybody must be guaranteed to that their rights will be respected. That was not the case in the US during COVID hysteria. That was not the case here in Canada. So the solution to that, it is not to change the constitution. The solution is to elect politicians who will respect our constitution. It's about people. We have bad politicians that for them the Constitution is just another piece of
Yep.
paper and it's not important. So we just have to put the right people over there that will respect our Constitution, and that's the solution that we want to do. That's why we are in politics.
Yeah. Well, you're the only leader that I actually trust will give me an honest answer. There, like, I would never invite any of the other leaders because to me they're all captured. When
Yeah,
all 338 voted to allow children to reassign their gender without parental consent, I felt betrayed by all 338. So you're like the only guy that's willing to put their neck on the line to help the families and their children to keep the parental rights.
oh, absolutely. And I was the first one to speak about that. I spoke with Billboard Chris, as you know, he is a big defender and is fighting against that radical gender ideology and the fact that a boy can be a girl. That's crazy. It cannot happen. That's mutilation of our kids. But Billboard Chris started that campaign and a long time ago, and we had a
Yep.
discussion, and I told him, I'm following you on that idea. You were the first one to speak about it. And he looked at me and he said, no, Maxime, you were the first one. You started that 2 months before me to fight against that when you spoke against Soji in BC. That was, the education system in British Columbia. They were promoting that ideology in school. And I spoke it against that with our candidate in 2019, early January 2019. So yes, we are doing politics based on our convictions, and we are not afraid to tell the truth and to speak about the truth against the lies coming from these establishment politicians.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really sad what's happened to us, and I'm grateful that we have you. We have a voice. Now, speaking of a voice, I know you got arrested just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, I have a friend of mine, Cullen McDonald, who's got a case on October 11th, and all he did was he was at a rally and spoke at the rally against the lockdowns and the mandates, but he had a question for you, so I'm going to. Another Canadian patriot, Cullen McDonald, has an appeal on October 11th, 10 a.m., Welland, Ontario, and the Assistant Crown Attorney, Michael Luciforo, seeks to criminalize peaceful assembly under the guise of safety. The government wants to silence those who dare to speak up, which you are quite aware and familiar with. When all five parties voted to exclude you from the last federal election debate, even though you qualified. The Liberal government, I think it only had 5 or 6% of the vote and didn't even have status at that point, party status yet, and they didn't have a full slate. So they didn't qualify at all for the debate. And lo and behold, they were at the debate. So that really woke me up on a lot of things. Now, Candace Owens even spoke about Cullen McDonald on her show, which is, I'm really grateful that she did. And I'm going to share it right now.
This Canadian man spoke out about vaccines at a protest, and now he is being criminally charged, facing 6 to 12 months in prison. Cullen McDonald versus His Majesty the King. Please help. Very dangerous. I think actually somebody also wrote me on Manect and spoke about that case. I will take a look into that.
This is what we're dealing with. Cullen is with us in the waiting room, and I'll bring him in so you could speak to him directly. I'll add him to the conversation, and you can let him know what a majority PPC government will do about Cullen facing 6 to 12 months in jail for common nuisance charge, just for speaking at a rally against the COVID mandate.
My ultimate question was for Max was how he could help me get my appeals noticed on the federal level, and also I just wanted to get some feedback from him on maybe things that he's done in the past that worked, because right now, I mean, that's why I'm on your podcast right now as we speak. Is I'm on a public awareness campaign to tell people about my appeals, because unfortunately there's no other way for people to find out about it unless I get on as many podcasts and as many interviews and posts as I can get. And I guess, which is a great segue for your viewers to please share this, because that's why I'm doing this. So, I don't, we haven't discussed it a lot. If anyone wants to know the details on my appeals, you can check me out on Facebook. My name is Cullen McDonald. You'll see it at the bottom here. Right at the top, you'll see a pinned post with a video from my friend Dave Freedom, which explains my appeals and what's going on and what it means to you at home, and really why this is happening to me, being charged criminally for protesting, speaking, and why they're doing this. And really, we talked about it tonight. This is a spiritual war. This is a war between, dark and light, and good and evil. And freedom dies in the dark. And we have to be the people to shine a bright light on this, so the crown and the courts and everyone in the judicial system understands that we are watching them. Because if we don't, we will lose our rights and freedoms, and they will do it in the dark when no one's looking, just like we've seen for the past 4 years and beyond. They do it when no one's watching. So that's why I'm here. That was my question for Max, was just to, see how he could help me get this to some federal exposure, whether it's inside contacts that he might have, maybe we'll have to take it offline, but it would be great if he could help me with that. Really be the biggest thing that would help right now. It's coming up in 3 weeks, so now is the time, like yesterday type of thing, but yeah, man, that's kind of,
I agree,
my piece.
Yeah, that is a good question for him.
Yeah, that is a great question. And actually, I'm very pleased of what you're doing right now. The fact that you are appealing that decision. Uh, I did a lot of protests during the COVID hysteria. I was out there with other politicians. They were rare, but we had a couple of politicians from Ontario. Uh, Derek Sloan was with us, and other politicians fighting. And nobody, I didn't receive anything from the Crown that it was a criminal to do that. I think they don't want to take us as an example because it would be too public. And so that's why maybe they took you and they want to make a case with you. So it's good that you're appealing, because I strongly believe that you have the Charter of Rights over there that is there to guarantee your freedom of speech and saying what you want to say. And by giving you more visibility, what I can do, actually, you can write to me at info@peoplespartyofcanada.ca and give me more details. And what I'll do, I'll tweet about it. So you'll have at least all my followers and other people that will see. And I know that there's a cost when you appeal. I did that, actually. I did the fight also in the court with Brian Petford. We were not able to travel across the country. As you may remember, Trudeau imposed on us a vaccine passport, and we said no to that. We said that it was illegal, unconstitutional, and we have the right in Canada to travel freely where we want without having a vaccine passport. But the court said no, we won't appeal. The Supreme Court of Canada said we won't listen your appeal, and so we didn't win that case. So I encourage you to go and to do everything that you can do with the justice system, and I will try to put more light on the fact that you're fighting for us. Because if you're guilty, that means a lot of Canadians will be guilty, and that means that we are losing our rights, and that means that we have a real totalitarian government. And I'm doing the fight for more freedom, so I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, his case is October 11th, and we'll set a precedent. So, you're right. We could lose everything at that point, depending on the judge he gets. He's actually not even with us, even though he was supposed to, but he didn't make it. But I will send your message to him. And another friend of mine was a ranger, and he was reporting to his superiors, and he found that it was stopped. So the corruption didn't get past, the reporting So he's kind of a whistleblower that got shut down and silenced. And I mean, you walked in the halls of the parliament, so you know what's going on there. You know the conversations that are going down there. But this is Kirk Riese here.
So, Maxime, nice to meet you, sir. This will be the first time I've been able to talk to a politician in 5 years. Well, actually, no, that's wrong. I talked to an NDP one, and the two that had me after the mental hospital. But either way, for doing my duty of exposing fraud, corruption, and human rights violations within the CAF government and RCMP, I've seen firsthand how whistleblowers are left abandoned and vulnerable and actually become targets for RCMP, CRA, and every government agency that fails to withhold their oaths. What steps would you take to ensure whistleblowers like myself are protected from career destruction, financial ruin, and institutional and legal system abuse?
Yes.
Kirk is with us.
Hello, Maxine. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. So thank you for your questions. And we are supposed to have a legislation in Canada that is protect you, but I can understand that it is not the case. We need people like you in every institution to tell us the truth. So what we can do is to change that legislation to be sure that you'll be protected, to be sure that you'll be able to keep your job. And if it must not be like that in Canada. It's because of people like you that we are able to know the truth. And I want the truth out there. And I want a government that will be transparent and responsible. But that's not the case. So we'll need to improve that legislation for sure.
Yeah, I'll just add. Yeah, there was Bill C-290, whistleblower protection for Canada, but it was shot down last fall. And Canada has the worst whistleblower protection in the world, is what I'm told, and I believe it because I've been trying for many years, and it was my duty, as you mentioned earlier, to protect Canadian sovereignty, and that was our main tasking in the Rangers. But also not to be afraid to tell the truth, and so many people are afraid to tell the truth. I know you're not, but I've contacted so many other parties. I've this is my first time contacting you, and I see you have an info at peoplesparty.ca. I'll be sending you some information tonight. I'm a very easy guy to talk to. I have no hidden agendas, just the truth. And I've been living in exile for over 5 years. All my bank accounts were seized since 2015, over $350,000. And the CRA lost all records of me. Actually, a lot of people lost all records of me. But I'm still alive. I'm still trying to get this truth out. And I would like for us to have a conversation after this. And I know I could help you and you could help us and help Canada. And that's all this is about, is helping Canada. That's all. And our children, of course. And thank you for listening, Maxine. And thank you, Paul, for getting me on.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm doing also as a politician, telling the truth against all these lies and, having a government that will respect us and respect the Constitution, like I said before. So I would like to have a conversation with you. Write to me at info@peoplespartyofcanada.ca and send us more information. And I want to be educated about your case if I want to speak about it a little bit more.
Yep. Or you can just Google Kirk Riese when you get a chance. I know you're busy, but I will definitely be forwarding you some stuff tonight and tomorrow. Thanks again, Paul and Maxine.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Kirk. Thank you for your question. I have another one, Max. I know you have like 30 to 45 minutes, so we're getting close, but I appreciate it very much for your time and your honest answers. Max, this is a question about the UN's attempt to take over Canadian land using UNDRIP. Canadians are very concerned by the globalist takeover of our land with the UN's UNDRIP, our health with the World Health Organization, and our freedom from the World Economic Forum, our financial situation with the IMF, the Paris Climate Accord, Agenda 2030, the compound interest, stealing the financial future of Canadians. If you get a majority will your government free Canadians from this takeover and prevent it with a new constitution that protects Canadians from this rainbow Marxist parliament from forming again? We need a constitution that forces referendums to participate in any wars or to even give foreign aid. Our foreign aid has never helped the people of those countries. Our foreign aid only helped their government to build an open air prison, just like here in Canada. Will you protect Canadians from these entities from taking over our sovereignty?
Actually, we are the only political party at the federal level that would do that. UNRIP is unconstitutional. You know, it's happening in British Columbia right now. The provincial government is following that philosophy coming from the UN. We are against that. Our constitution must be respected, and we cannot allow that to be a law here in Canada. We must protect our territory and our sovereignty, and that's what we will do. And concerning all these international organizations, we will withdraw from them. They won't be able to impose anything on us. We won't participate in the World Economic Forum. We won't participate in the World Health Organization. We won't finance the UN. So we won't participate. We will be a real sovereign country. And actually, that's in line with the Constitution. We have a great Constitution. The problem is we have politicians who don't respect our Constitution. So let's do that. Let's be a sovereign country. Look what it happened in Alberta. Danielle Smith said when she was elected at the provincial level in Alberta, she said to her civil servant, I don't want you to be in touch with the World Health Organization. Health is a provincial jurisdiction, and we have competent people here. We don't need to deal with these people at the WHO. So, and she did it, and that was the end of that in Alberta. So here in Canada now we have the bill 293. That bill, that bill is not enforced right now. It is in the Senate for the second reading. If it's coming in force, that will be, we're going to take everything that the World Health Organization tried to impose on us. We will put that in our legislation, and that will be a Canadian law. So that bill must not pass. If that bill passes, we must repeal that bill as soon as possible because we don't want to have the socialist and totalitarian policies coming from the UN and the World Health Organization here in Canada. So healthcare is a provincial jurisdiction, a Canadian jurisdiction, and I don't want these non-elected bureaucrats in Brussels to tell us what to do. But if the bill 293 pass in our parliament, that will be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'm glad to hear you're the only person saying it, though. Out of all the politicians, you're the only one that's actually trying to protect us. So like I said, I appreciate that. Where is your next rally going to be?
I don't know on my agenda right now. I know that I will be in Drummondville, Quebec this weekend. I will be campaigning in Quebec City. It's important for us to have candidates all across the country. And that's what I'm doing. And we will do a rally in Drummondville, but all that will be on our website. People can go on peoplespartyofcanada.ca website and look on their events, and they will see where I will be in the next couple of days.
Okay, great. Now, I have one more question for this segment, and it's a tough one. That's why I saved it for last, because I'm not really a podcaster. I mean, I'm doing it, but it's really not my calling. I'm more of just a songwriter, and that's what I do. And but I was kind of compelled through research, because I've been researching all sorts of things. I test the water. So I've tested the rainwater. A lot of people that I know are very, very concerned about this. You may not be able to speak on it because it may be classified or top secret, but I'll show you a picture of what I'm talking about. So this is I have tested the water, and I found it very disturbing. I'll show you right now. The test results, the aluminum 3090 parts per million. Now that will weaken your immune system. It will also inhibit your DNA to repair itself. Now the lithium is a medical treatment for it's antipsychotic for schizophrenics and bipolars, and 600 is a dosage. This is 500. So this seems to me like all of these things should be zero because they don't come from the sky, they come from the earth. So will a PPC majority government expose this, stop this, and just to protect our air, because all of these things will cause lung problems, COVID-like symptoms, and like I said, so it'll be easier for us to be harmed by something that wouldn't harm us.
So something is happening in our sky. I don't know what. Actually, I know that the federal government did sign an agreement, a treaty with the US concerning the weather. And they are saying that they're doing things in the sky to control the weather. I don't know more about that. I've read that treaty. I want to know more like you. And what we can do is to have a real debate about it with expert and ordinary Canadians that will come in Parliament, in a parliamentary commission, and knowing what is happening. And after that, we'll
Mhm.
be able to act. But I know that they're doing something. Is it really damaging for our health? Maybe, maybe not. But I want to know. I want to
Yeah.
know what they're doing. And yes, we will open that discussion. There's no taboo subject for us. We will open that discussion, having a parliament commission, and these civil servants, these experts who are doing that, they will have to come as a witness and will ask the question, and Canadians will see. And if something happened that is against the well-being of Canadians, we will stop that for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's happening all over the world. I have friends like all over the world, and so they're all reporting the same thing. We can't stop the planes. We can't shoot them down. It's so most people feel helpless. They know something's going on, but they don't know what. Now, my research is testing the rainwater. That's exactly what's going on. That's the only way that the public can scrutinize and figure it out. And I don't see it as attempted murder. What I do see, my conclusion is, it's not trying to kill us, but it is to weaken us, to weaken our immune system. Our natural, God-given immune system is quite powerful. So what this does is it makes us easier susceptible to colds and pneumonia and all these sorts of things. But the lithium is to keep us calm. They want to keep us calm, so they're literally drugging us, but not over drugging us. So I see it as harm, but not to kill us, just to keep us quiet, keep us happy, and own nothing.
I won't stay calm. I'm there to debate. I'm there to
Yeah,
tell the truth. And that's why sometimes I'm mad. And you will see me.
yeah.
I'm not. If you're in politics and you're fighting for what you believe, you must stand up and speak out and loud. And that's what I'm doing. Nobody will stop us at the People's Party. And we want to promote the truth and have the truth about what is happening in
Mhm.
our sky.
Yep. And we all have our part. I have my part. You have your part. I'm not as brave as you, though. I tried politics and I found it very harsh, very cruel. It's not a nice place to be. And you know it. You've been there firsthand. And as soon as you started talking honestly, they came after you. And they kept you from a debate that you qualified for. That bothers me a lot. That
Yeah.
really bothers me. They silenced like a majority of the country, as far as I'm concerned, when they did
But
that.
if they don't change the rule, I will
Yeah,
be there at the next debate in 2025, and that will be important because I will
it-
ask questions, I will answer the questions. That will be
I
a
agree.
real debate, and
Yep.
I'm looking forward for that one.
Hmm. No, I've had many. I have like 3 shows on the rainwater and what's going on there, but I also had a couple of shows on the Indian Act and how it restricts natives from success. Like they
Yeah,
can't have a Ford plant, they can't have a big corporations showing up there. They're limited uh, with their ability to advance and to be successful. Like, would you deal with the Indian Act and scrap
absolutely.
it?
Absolutely, we'll scrap it. We will be sure that we won't have a communist system on reserve. That is what we have right now. That's
Yeah.
why it's very difficult for them to own anything. And yes,
Mhm.
our goal is to repeal the Indian Act. And actually, a lot of First Nations are in agreement with us on that. So let's do it. The Indian Act is the only they're saying that Canada is a we have in Canada systemic racism. That's not true. That's not true. But the only legislation that is racist is the Indian Act, and that's why we must end that, repeal that act, and we'll do it.
Mm. That's great to hear, Max. Anyway, that's my last question for today. Thank you very much for spending time with me. Thank you, everyone who's watching, for watching this show. Please let everyone know. All we want to do is help you understand what a PPC government would be in Canada, how it would transform our freedoms and our ability to grow and develop together as one. No separation between the natives and the non-natives. We're all one,
Yeah.
and that's the way we look at it. That's the way we think it. One race, human race. Thank you, Max. I hope you have a great uh, uh, rally this week, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate that. And I'm very happy that I had this opportunity with you. And if your viewers want to know more about the People's Party, they can always go on our website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca. They can read our platform, click on platform. Everything is there. What I said 6 years ago, I'm saying the same thing today. We don't change our platform at every election. It's always the same ideas. And if they want to follow me on Twitter, Maxime Bernier, they can follow me there. So, but thank you. And I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to have another interview together in the near future.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining me at the Truth Table.